Hi everyone, welcome to Sojourn Kitchen. My name's Rob Pearce. I'm the manager of Sojourn here at the RACV City Club. Today I'm joined by Chef Callum. We're going to take you through some of our dishes that we have for our upcoming Yarra Valley night. So it's something to look forward to. I know that lockdown 6.0 is a bit frustrating, but first weekend of September we'll be looking to host a night that's all about the Yarra Valley. So all about great food, great drinks. Obviously the wine's very important in there as well. So today will be a great experience for us to take you through that. And tickets will be going on sale via our club website the next week or so. So today I'm going to start you off with a lovely beer. So it's a pale ale by Hargraves Hill. It's a hoppy pale ale. So how they actually make a pale ale like this, where it's got extra hops. So they're boiling the ingredients for the beer, and they're dropping it below 79 degrees in the final stages, and then they're adding the hops. And once it's cooling down, and then adding further hops, get that extra hoppiness, which is called dry hopping. So you can find these at places like Dan Murphy's for about $15 for a 4-pack, and they also have the bottle marts and other venues. So when looking at the aromas of this and having a look at the colour, so it's a lovely cloudy colour when it's coming through, that extra pale ale. So the smell, so this is my first time having this beer as well. Oh, the smell of citrus notes, it's going to go lovely with the dish that Callum's going to be doing first up today. Tasting that, yeah, definitely a lot of citrus notes, a bit of a pineapple coming through. And lovely hop. So yeah, definitely give that one a try. Now I'm going to pass over to Chef Callum, who's going to take us through our very first dish for today. Over to you, Callum.
Thank you very much, Rob. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Sojourn Kitchen. So today I'm going to take you through 3 dishes. So pretty much we've got our Yarra Valley Experience happening on the 4th of September. And it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So we've got a range of dishes. So it's going to be classical Sojourn style sharing. We're going to start off with some stacks. Then we're going to have some small bowls, small plates, and then we're going to have our large plates followed by a dessert snack and then one dessert. We'll be looking forward to that on the 4th of September on Saturday night. So we can't wait to have you in the club. So first of all, what we're going to do is one of our snacks that we're going to do on the night is really simple but really cool. It's salt and vinegar chips. Now, it's like, some people might say, how do you make salt and vinegar chips? It's really easy, but it's actually quite hard to do really well and make sure they're nice and crunchy, they don't burn and all these types of things. So today, what I'm going to talk to you about is how to actually get those little tips and tricks to make sure they're really crunchy and make sure they're absolutely perfect. So what we've got here is just some sliced potatoes just in some water. So what you want to do is make sure you've got the sliced potatoes, put them straight into water, and you want to slice them quite thinly. So as you can see, you can actually maneuver it with your fingers, and it's quite thin. So with the potatoes, what we aim to do is have a very starchy potato. So we want a high starch potato, which will then cause the potato to get very crispy in the fryer. And we actually use potatoes, Dobson potatoes, which are actually some magnets. So what we want to do is set a fryer or set a frying pan even up to about 180 degrees, 190, and you want to fry those until they're nice and crispy. And then take them out of the fryer onto a chuck. Onto a chuck or some paper towel is fine as well. So with the potatoes, also we want to make sure that when a common mistake people make is they put potatoes in the fridge. Now we don't want to put any potatoes in the fridge because what happens is the starch component of the potato turns into sugar. So when it actually goes into the fire, it actually ends up burning the potato instead of making it nice and crisp because the sugar will caramelize. So we want to make sure we avoid that, okay? But once they're actually peeled, you can put them in the fridge. So the main sugar component is actually in the peel of the potato. So you want to make sure that's taken out before before you put the potatoes into the fridge. So just keep them in a nice dark spot under, like, in pantry somewhere, covered by a nice tea towel, something like that is also really good to do. Okay, now we're just going to wait for the potatoes to get nice and crisp. While we're waiting, the vinegar that we use is a vinegar. So we make a vinegar powder. So what we do is we combine a pink river salt. So my river salt you'll find at a lot of good health stores, and then we combine that with a Chardonnay vinegar from the Yarra Valley. It's a wood barrel aged Chardonnay vinegar, which you combine with the salt. Then you mix it all together. Then you dry it out on a very low temperature. So an average domestic oven goes down to about 60 degrees. So if you actually mix your salt and your vinegar and you put it in your oven at 60 degrees overnight, what will happen is the vinegar will dehydrate and will get absorbed into the salt. And then you blitz your salt in a food processor and you pass it through a really fine sieve. And what you'll end up with is this really fine powder, which goes on top of the chips. Okay. So then it gives it a little bit of extra flavor because you've got that really beautiful pink salt from the Murray River, and you've got that beautiful Chardonnay vinegar, in the wood age barrel. So that's perfect. We've got our chips, which are nearly ready. Very important to make sure you flip your potatoes and make sure they're cooked really well. Now, when you're doing these potatoes, you want to make sure that you're not actually doing them too much prior to the day. So you want to make sure they're actually done on the day or just before the day, because they don't hold their crispness as well the next day. Okay. Now, for this, what I've chosen is a really, really bright bowl, so a nice pink bowl. Really important to have these kind of these standout crockery dishes. When the dish is so simple, as long as all those elements are absolutely perfect, and you've got a really nice bowl, then everything will go perfect. So we'll take out those chips now and put them into a bowl, a container, just with some paper towel chucks. Is what I've used today. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle some of that vinegar powder on top. Now you don't want too much, but you want to make sure that you get enough on there. Okay. Now I'm sure that beer that Rob had will go absolutely perfectly with this. So there we go. And I'll hand it back over to Rob, who will be doing a spritz next. So over to Rob.
Thank you very much for that, Callum. I look forward to enjoying those crisp on our Sojourn rooftop. They go very well with our poppy pale ale today. To complement Callum's next dish, we're going to do a twist on a spritz classic. So Aperol spritz is normally made with Aperol, but today we're going to be using a local product. So Spotswood, it's called Dabo Plum. So it's an aperitif, so it's not high in alcohol. It's about just over 8%. So this will replace the Aperol element. So it's made with local ingredients like oranges and grapefruits from our local farmers here in Victoria. So that'll be our first ingredient. And the hero of this drink is one of my favourite ciders. This is the Bees Knees pod cider. It's called Apatica. So it's 4.5 grams of sugar, so it's almost healthy for you. It is vegan as well. It's a family-owned business, so big shout out to the Ostrom family. They've done a great job with this cider, travelling back and forth from the UK to perfect the recipe. If you do see this, definitely give it a try. It's a fantastic cider. So today I'm going to be using one of our white wine glasses here at Sojourn. But to tell you the truth, the bigger the wine glass, the better. It's going to be nice. Lots of ice is what you want as key for your cocktail. So today I'm going to be filling right to the top. Normally we'd also add a soda water element. Because we're using a cider that's got a fizz to it, we're actually not going to add soda water. So it's a very basic cocktail, but it's going to taste absolutely delicious and go well with Callum's next dish. So it's up to you how much you'd like to pop in. I'm going to pop in 45 mils. If you did want to go up to 60, because it is lower alcohol, you're more than welcome to. But keep it in mind, This cider packs a punch at 6.6%, so just be careful of that if you are driving. So there we go. So we're going to go 45 mils of that. Then we're going to top up with our Aquatica cider. Next off, I've got some dehydrated oranges here. So none of the food that none of the fruits we have here at the club go to waste. So what we do is we thinly slice them up and we dehydrate them down for our cocktail garnishes. So you can do that with most citrus fruits. So put your oven on to about 65, 70 degrees for about 4 hours, and they'll come back and be nice and dehydrated with just cocktail garnishes. There we are. So that's our twist on a spritz using Aquatica from the Yarra Valley. So next up, Callum's going to have a lovely dish for you to go with that drink.
Awesome, thank you very much, Rob. So basically what we're going to do next is we're going to make a play on the classic tabbouleh dish. So our classic tabbouleh is basically curly parsley, burgle, then we've got tomatoes, cucumber, lemon vinaigrette. Now, in Sojourn, we like to make things a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. So what we've done is we've come up with a dish that is a Brussels sprout tabbouleh. So instead of the burgle, what we're actually using is a very, very thinly sliced Brussels sprout. So if you can see that there, it's very, very thin. Okay, so that's what we like to call chiffonade. So we chiffonade that into very, very thinly sliced. All right. So we want to make sure that that is as thinly sliced as possible, and we get those Brussels sprouts from just out of Colster in the Yarra Valley at a beautiful farm there. Then basically what you want to do is you want to have all your ingredients ready to go. You don't want to pre-slice your Brussels sprouts. What can happen is they actually oxidize and they go a little bit brown. So we want to avoid that. So basically you can pre-do all your other ingredients, but the Brussels sprouts you want to make sure you don't do until the day. Okay. Then we've got some finely chopped parsley. And then we've got just some cubed cucumber and some tomato as well. Okay, so the tomatoes are just some nice cherry tomatoes, which have been de-seeded and then diced into a nice shape there. Okay, so what we want to do is in the bowl, add a little bit of the cucumber and all of our Brussels sprout chiffonade, and then add some tomato. And our parsley, which is one of the very traditional elements of a tabbouleh. All right, then we want to season it very well with some pink salt from the Murray River. And then give it a good garnish, and then give it a good brining of pepper as well. Okay. And then what we've got here is some lemon vinaigrette. So give it a good shake. And then you want to give it quite a good dose of lemon vinaigrette, okay? Now, at home, obviously you can use your hands to mix this all up, but we're going to use a spoon just so we say here. But it's a play on a tabbouleh, so it isn't obviously going to be a classic tabbouleh, but it is a play on it and a very modern way of doing it. Okay. So to plate this one up, what we'll do is we'll get a nice mound of it onto the plate. And again, super simple, really nice dish for spring, which is coming up. Hopefully we'll get out of this cold weather. We've got a really nice dish to share, especially in the Yarra Valley night coming up in Sojourn. And next we go back to Rob and he'll be finishing us with a cocktail.
Thank you very much for that, Callum. I wouldn't mind the idea of dipping one of those chips into that, actually. It looks delicious. So first, and finish off the night, we're going to do a gin-based cocktail using 4 kilos gin. So today I'm using their rare dry, but you know what? Feel free to replace it with any other gin you like. I would recommend alchemy as well. So they're the neighbours to 4 kilos. So that's a chamomile gin. It's a lovely gin. It'll also go well with this cocktail. This cocktail is, I've just pretty much got some inspiration from the likes of the New York Sour, the Devil's Margarita, and a Gimlet. So we're mixing those kind of ingredients together. And yeah, to see how this one goes, but it's going to have a lot of elements from the Yarra Valley. Another highlight from it will actually be a red wine float by Wildfire. So Wildfire from the Upper Yarra. I definitely recommend, if you do find this label, try the Pinot Noir or the Chardonnay. The Chardonnay just recently won a gold medal in the wine awards last month. So to start off, we're going to grab our cocktail shaker. So at home, if you wanted to make something like this, feel free to use your protein shaker or an empty jet mason jar. Today I'll be using a cocktail shaker. So with this drink, the big one here is going to be the 4 pillars. So we're going to double up on it. We're going to go 60 mils of 4 pillars gin. Next up, depending on how sweet you like it, I'd recommend to do anywhere from 15 to 30 mils of simple syrup. So that's just boiling water, equal parts with sugar. I'm going to put about 20 mils in because I don't like it the sweetest, but we like some sweetness to it. And final is our citrus elements. This would be lemon juice. So fresh lemon juice. If you have a lime tree at home, feel free to use lime. But yeah, either is good. So 30 mils of that. Next up, going to shake. So mixing all the ingredients together, you can do 8 to 12 seconds for this. So I've got a lovely trip here today that I'll be using. So on here. So with this, you want to make sure that you're double straining. So you have a nice net to get all the small bits of ice out of there. So chilling your cocktail right down for this before we put the room temperature red wine on top. The reason why I'm using the Pinot today as well, it's a lot lighter. I don't want the flavour of the wine to overpower the hero of the drink, which is our 4 pillars gin. So using a spoon, so it doesn't matter which one. And today I'm using a bar spoon. So you want to add a lovely red wine float. So separating it, just so you want to be about half a centimetre underneath, be able to layer the red wine. So you probably want in there anywhere from 40 to 60 mils, depending on how much red wine you like. I'm garnishing today with a lovely lime wheel. And this here is best enjoyed on the Sojourn rooftop. So there we are. So that's our twist on a Devon's Margarita at New York Sour. So next up, we have Callum's last dish, which is a lovely trout. So over to you, Callum.
Thank you very much, Robert. That was absolutely delicious, and yes, it'll be beautiful on the rooftop. So what we've got here to go with this beautiful cocktail is some Marysville trout. Now, in Marysville, we got it from one of the farms up there. Beautiful, absolutely the best trout that I've actually had to date. So what we've done with the trout is we have smoked it and cured it, and now we're going to pan sear it. Okay, so I'm going to get that on, and then I'll talk you through how we actually did that. Okay, so you want it to be about a medium to high heat for your trouts because you want it to have a very crispy stem. Okay, so we want to make sure it's seasoned very well on top, on that skin side. When we're seasoning fish, you want to make sure that the skin side is seasoned well, but just as important to do the underneath and that flesh side. Okay, so again, seasoning very, very well. As I cure mix, didn't have too much salt in it, so we just want to make sure that that's seasoned beautifully. Now in this pan, what we've got is just a little bit of olive oil, and also what we've got is just a touch of lemon juice in there as well. Okay. So our trout is beginning to cook in there, so that'll be fantastic. Now, what we do to cure and smoke that trout is we get a 1 to 3 ratio, so 1 part salt to 3 parts sugar. ratio of sugar and salt. And then what we do is we combine a whole lot of citrus. So we have some lemons, some limes, some oranges, some cinnamon, and some star anise, some clove, and all those beautiful spices. And we combine it all together. And this is a wet cure, as this is actually a wet cure which happens because of the juices in the citrus. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you actually put the cure on the flesh part of the salmon, and you give a really, really tight lap round. And then over about the course of 2 days, we let that sit. So it's actually quite a long time to let that sit there, but it does give it time to actually impregnate the salmon, the trout with a lot of beautiful flavour. So let's check this one now. They're doing very well. So let that go a little bit longer. So what we've got traditionally with trout, what you serve is a creme fraiche and dill and citrus. So absolutely go famously together. So what we've got in the fridge here is some of those elements. Now, we've tried to do it a little bit more modern way for you. So what we've done here with our creme fraiche is we've popped it into a piping bag, but first of all, what we've done is we've actually made it into a gel. So we've added a seaweed derivative called gelatin into the mix, and we've actually incorporated that with milk and citrus as well. And then what we've done is it becomes like a sheet, and then we set it, and then we actually blitz it in that Thermomix, and then we pass it, and it becomes this beautiful, rich, creamy, silky smooth substance. That's absolutely beautiful. And the dill is done the exact same way, okay? So the dill is actually, it's a little bit different because it's not a dairy-based product. So a little bit longer on the trout and the skin. So the dill emulsion is basically dill that's been in our Paco jet. So Paco jet is an ice cream maker, but we actually use it to make a lot of oils and a lot of emulsions as well. So what you do is you actually freeze down your dill and oil in the blast chiller. So it goes down to about minus 25 degrees. And then what we do is we freeze that, and then we run our Paco jet, which has a blade that moves incredibly quickly. And what it does is it actually basically breaks down the dill into really, really, really fine, just blends it basically. But then we freeze it again, and we do that 9 times. Then what we do is we combine that with milk, and then what we do is we get a lot of citrus in there. So looking to use those oranges, some oranges actually from Canberra in the Yarra Valley as well, and some lemon and lime as well on top of that. Our trout, once we flip it over, we want to turn it off the pan and just let it sit. The residual heat in the pan will then basically just let it do its thing, and it'll be nice and medium to medium rare. We don't want that trout cooked too much or too little. Okay. So on our plate here, what we're going to do is we've got our creme fraiche, nice piping nozzle as well. So I want to make sure that our creme fraiche is piped very nice on the plate. So I like to do lots of little dots on the plate. So, and we always like to do odd numbers in the kitchen as well when we're plating up. We don't like even numbers. So we'll go 9 dots of the creme fraiche. And our dill emulsion is a little bit larger inside. So we're just trying to get some dots there of that one. Just like that. And we've also got some dill dust. Okay, so the dill dust is basically pig dill. So, and then we dehydrate it, and then we put it through a mortar and pestle. So then what we're going to do is put that over our creme fraiche. And then what we're going to do is we'll grab our salmon and some garnishes as well. Salmon, sorry, scrap. So what we want to do is just garnish with some, what we've got here is some carrot herb and some baby mizuna and some wild garlic flowers. So we'll just garnish with a little bit of those. And it will go absolutely perfectly with that cocktail that Rob's just done, as it is obviously lots of those hints of citrus in there, which is what we're looking for. Find a good one, find one. Sure. And that one's on there. And there we go. So just a little sneak peek into our Yarra Valley Experience, which will be happening in Sojourn on the 4th of September. And back to Rob.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the insight into our upcoming Yarra Valley night at Sojourn. As I mentioned earlier, tickets will be $95, available on our website. It is limited tickets, so as soon as you see it, jump in fast. All right, well, enjoy, and we'll see you back at the club very soon.
Look forward to seeing you soon.